LPW 39 kicked off with a tag team matchup pitting the Mad Lads against Nick Shostastic and Chad Mills. Though the newly formed Money Models put up a fight, a distraction courtesy of Rose bought Nate Nixon and William Taylor enough time to hit the Super Buck Nasty to pick up the win. Afterwards, Rose stated that she and Elevation were here to take every title in LPW, starting with MRB's Challenge Championship. Next, Dean Richter faced off with the Canadian Goose, Kyle Shaw, in a battle of power versus pluckiness. In spite of Goose's impressive showing, Richter's raw power was simply too much to overcome, earning Real Talk the victory. Rose looked to make good on her promise to take even more gold in LPW, facing Michael Richard Blaze. A brutal pre-match attack saw MRB's arm incapacitated, with Rose all too eager to take advantage. However, after a brief battle on the floor, a sneaky roll-up from MRB allowed him to retain his Challenge Championship, much to the chagrin of Rose and her Thorns. Thankfully, Stephen Crow was there to break up a post-match beatdown, albeit without entering the ring. The intermission was yet again interrupted by Rich King, Thaddeus Archer III, and Jack Pride. With Archer still retaining Pride's contract, the trio were set to face off with T.Y. Jackson, continuing the tension between the former Rads. Though T.Y. threw everything he had at King, both the numbers game and a shocking mid-match attack from Dean Richter saw King pick up yet another victory. That wasn't the end of T.Y.'s frustration, however, as following a request for a microphone, he was interrupted by none other than LPW Grand Champion Stephen Crow, who ran down the former #1 contender. After Jackson left the ring, Jinha made his LPW return, facing Crow in a non-title action. The English luchador was impressive in his return to Love Pro Wrestling, however, the vicious streak of Crow earned the Rhinestone Cowboy another victory. However, Crow was quickly interrupted by Zoe Sager, declaring herself the real Grand Champion and vowing to return at LPW 40. Finally, the Short Kings challenged Paralira for the LPW Tag Team Championships. All four men laid it all on the line in a main event for the ages. However, it was Bharat Garani and Sheikh Shabazz who left the rec room with their tag title reigns still intact. Though the duos exchanged handshakes, it was the Mad Lads looking to stand tall to close out LPW 39. Much to the surprise of the Short Kings, it was Michael Richard Blaze, followed up by Stephen Crow, making the save for the duo. Not only did they make the save, but MRB was quick to call out Nixon and Taylor for a match at LPW 40, putting the LPW Challenge Championship on the line, much to the chagrin of Stephen Crow. This month, Rose puts her Scramble Championship on the line, Zoe Sager returns to face the Canadian Goose, and the Clandestine Society and the Mad Lads face off with the LPW Challenge Championship on the line. Good luck, babes. It's LPW 40, the rise and fall of a Western Canadian wrestler.